football site. This is Coach Mad Mike.
And it's the Lord Surge.
All right, everybody, welcome to the live cast tonight. Our special guest, Shaq, is not going to be able to make it. So if you're here and you're a Shaq person watching this thing and you're going to be part of the show, glad to have you. We sure appreciate that you're here. And I will tell you that we'll get Shaq on here in the, next week, and we'll keep rolling. I wanted to take a moment just to kind of just thank everybody for being on. And just let you know that, a lot's going on in our country right now after the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. We did not do a show on Friday, or we actually filmed it, but we did not post it. It'll be filmed and dropped this Friday. So you can check out the playoff picture of around the NFL of what we filmed this last Friday. You'll see it this coming Friday. And other than that, tonight's show will go on. And so with that, any comments that you like to make about all of that, Lord Sarge?
Remember when 9/11 happened?
Oh, man, I do.
Remember what happened in the NFL? It was I kind of had the feeling, I was up until 2 a.m. I kind of had the feeling like that happened again, and we just barely got away without something worse happening,
Well, I will tell you, for America, one thing I love about football is a uniting sport.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I don't really care when I go to a football game, I don't care what someone's political beliefs are. Right. Yeah. We're on the same team. We wear the same colors. We're enjoying it, which really truly is an American sport. Let's take it. Football is an American sport, right? So right. This is how our country unites, right? And actually, the dark point of the country to me was when we had all the issues that happened in 2020 with the social tensions that happened in America that led to our name change, right? I don't like it when politics interferes with the game. So I definitely don't want anything that happens in the country to interfere with the game, right?
But I'm 100% all in with you on that one. That gets a big hand clap, because I like my sports, and I don't like my politics in my sports.
That's right. And I don't like it when the U.S. Olympic team starts taking a political platform. I don't like that stuff. You represent USA, be impartial, be neutral. And don't think just because you're an athlete, you got a platform politically. Right. Keep politics out of sports.
Be proud and be quiet.
Yeah, just be proud to be an American.
Right? Be proud. Be quiet.
We could disagree on things politically, but we're still teammates, right? So whatever.
I don't want to see it in my game.
So. Right? I don't. And I think that's when things get divided, right? Yeah. So and football is supposed to be a uniting kind of thing. So
well, look what happened. Look what happened in that time. Remember all the kneeling and all that stuff? Look what happened to viewership of the NFL.
Yeah, it went to crap. People got pissed off.
Yeah.
People weren't feeling
most
so
of America
united.
Feels like we do, Coach Mad Mike. No politics in our sport.
No politics, right? We want to enjoy football, and if you're on the left, be on the left. You on the right, be on the right. But when we come together for football, we're our team.
We're American.
Yeah, right? But we also represent our team, right? So, if you're a Cowboy, you're a Cowboy, and I hate you.
Come on now, don't hate on them boys. Now
I gotta hate on the boys, man.
You already hate. Well, we're gonna beat your butt.
I hate them, man. I got. We actually have a lot of fans on this show that are Cowboys fans, and I love you guys. I'm glad that y'all watched the show. There's quite a few. It's amazing how many Cowboy fans I know. It's crazy.
Yeah, here in the DC metro area, it's insane how many Cowboy fans are here.
Yeah,
this year, and you might. I think, Coach Mike, you might have a little tear in your eye with the Cowboys. I think you're going to feel a pang of sadness at how bad they are. I just that moment during the scene. Like, oh, them poor little boys. I just think you are.
I'm going to be like, just ground them into the dirt. Pick them when they're down.
So all you fans, when you watch our show coming up this Friday, where we do You'll see what we're talking about. You'll see what we're talking about. You need to watch the next vid.
That's right. It'll be out on Friday. We've already got it pre-scheduled to drop at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday. It was filmed this past Friday. It will drop at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Friday. It's already scheduled. It's already uploaded. So you can watch it then. So one of the things I want to try to talk about is, there's constantly news that always happens in the Washington Commanders. They make decisions all the time that some of them make sense, some of them don't. I got one that doesn't necessarily go either way. I don't know what I think about it, because it kind of like it's a hiring decision that sometimes they make these hiring decisions that kind of puzzle me a little bit. So we just hired a guy by the name of Mitchell Rales. Mitchell Rales is a former general manager of the Carolina Panthers. And we hired him to be kind of our executive of personnel. So it's like he's kind of like the chief of staff of the personnel department and scouting personnel department. And we already have
another one.
Yeah, like we already hired. What was his name? Blackburn. David Blackburn to be our director of player personnel. So he's going to be kind of like his assistant. To help within the department. And it's like, how many? To me, it's okay. You got a former GM, and
I was going to say you got to bring a former GM who loves that title, GM. You go put him underneath,
and he's not even underneath Adam Peters as the general manager. He's underneath the director of player personnel. So it's just like he's like 2 layers down from Adam Peters, who's the general manager. So it's just like it's kind of weird how we hire these guys. I assume that he has a role. I assume that he does. One of those things you got to be a deep fan to be intrigued by something like this. And sometimes I look at it and I get intrigued and I don't even know why I am. But like, why? Like, how many people do you need in the building?
Yeah, and how much money is that costing? Did you get a number?
I did not. But like,
it's not cheap.
To me, yeah. I mean, you're not getting a former GM cheaply. So like, I goes, for what? Like, what is he going to do that's going to be so? But what I do see a situation where they're stacking a deck with a lot of talent. You can clearly tell that they're building this team for the future. You can clearly tell with all the personnel changes that they had, like, this is a completely new organization.
Yeah, for sure, right? For sure.
It's a completely new organization. So as a true Commanders fan, I think you can be excited about the fact that this is a completely different organization. Josh Harris finally has his thumbprint on this organization because couldn't really do anything last year when he bought the team. It was too late.
Right.
And we have all new coaches, just about. We kept a few, but like the primary leadership is all new. The front office is pretty much all new, even though Martin Mayhew's still there. It's just like there's so much that's going on with this team. Like, and well over 50% of the players have turned over.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So they're going to look completely different.
We should expect an entirely new. I mean, it's just an entirely new team. It's
not all new systems.
Anything that we thought out of last year is not anything that's going to be this year.
That's right. And they're bringing the gold pants back.
They're bringing the what?
The gold pants back.
I saw that short you did. I was impressed. I was like, what?
So it's been a lot of years. It's been about 6 or 7 years since we wore gold pants. I don't know why we ever got away from it because we're not burgundy and white. We're burgundy and gold.
Gold always, right?
Yeah. So, we need to bring feathers back like you have in your photo.
That's why I did this tonight. Burgundy and gold, baby.
We need burgundy and gold. I wouldn't mind bringing feathers back. I wouldn't mind bringing our entire logo for Chief Two Guns White Calf because the helmet, there's nothing wrong with the helmet. Right. That's part of our heritage. And I think we need to honor Native Americans. So like, we can argue about the name later, but there's nothing wrong with the helmet.
Right.
The helmet honors Native Americans and it is of a real person.
I don't think anyone's actually talked about that particular point, Coach Mad Mike.
That's right. I'm bringing it up right now.
Bring back the imagery.
Bring back the imagery.
Change will happen, but why not bring back?
We can argue and we can remain the Commanders while we try to unscrew this, right?
Yeah.
But like, why can't we wear the helmet?
Right.
The helmet is Chief Two Guns White Calf. We just need to make a good PR. We need to promote this thing like months out in advance so everybody can freaking flip out. And right?
You know they will.
Because you know they will. You got a bunch of freaking wackos out there. And you just go, listen, This is about honoring Chief Two Guns Whitecalf and the Witzel family. Let's bring the helmet back because it's part of our heritage, and this is who we are. And we are going to honor Native Americans. And I would have them march out into the middle of the field. I'd honor them. I would get all these organizations. I would fill the center part of the stadium full of American Indians, and I would honor them.
Coach, if it was rolled out that way, I think it could happen. I think that kind of positive PR approach from history and from honoring, I think if it was actually structured and rolled out that way, what a brilliant idea.
And we could still be the Washington Commanders for that game, but I would bring the helmet back.
Yeah.
It'd be a start and say, you know what, we want to embrace and we want to honor Native Americans.
Yeah, start off with like a heritage game, right? Where
and it's kind of a throwback. It's kind of a throwback in a way, but it gives us an opportunity to honor Native Americans. You know how crazy the fan base would be to be at that game if we were wearing.
Dear Lord, I wouldn't want to be
our old helmet.
I'd be deaf for sure.
Oh my goodness, man! The whole DMV would like.
They'd freak
out. Alive, man.
Yep, they'd freak out.
So we got to do it.
That's
so anyway, Mitchell Reyes was the most recent hiring move. But I want to ask a key question here because it is a definite possibility at this point. We are literally less than 2 weeks away from training camp starting. And as a matter of fact, they first start reporting in like 5 days when coaches need to be back in the building and start getting ready, right? So like this is right around the corner. And so I posed a question. And if Shaq was here, I'd be posing him the question. But and so for those who are listening, I posed that question as well. Like, what if there are no more free agency moves? What are we going to do?
We're going to freak out, you and me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to lose my crap, man.
Because we know what we would do, don't we, Coach? We know what we would do. We know it.
I mean, I know a couple left tackles I would sign like yesterday.
Gosh. Oh my!
And we have this new. I don't know how many people we need in the front office to make personnel decisions, but apparently they're still not making any decisions.
Yeah, so we added one more who can't decide anything. Great.
Yeah, I mean another one. Throw another one in there so we have more disagreements, so we can't get to a decision.
Exactly. More people, more confusion.
Yeah, and less consensus because we had too many people in the building, right? Or whatever. I mean, maybe they're doing good stuff. I have no idea, but I can tell you one thing. I'm nervous about the left tackle position, right? We all have been. Like, anybody who follows this team is concerned. You know, can Brandon Coleman get the job done?
Yep.
Is Cornelius Lucas going to get it done?
The organization certainly feels like that's the case. That's like everything coming out of that head shed says that's the case. So somebody there sees something that we don't see. Somebody there sees something that you and me just don't see.
That's right. But I will tell you what we will see. When you and I show up at training camp, we're going to have all eyeballs on the left tackle.
Oh, Lordy, are we ever going to do
that? And
I
am going to report to you guys on our station, and we will tell you, hey, do they need to sign a left tackle or not, or is he holding his own, right? And I hope he holds his own. I mean, I really hope, because it's going to be the cheaper option.
Yep.
We already got him on contract, right? But, like, if Brandon Coleman can't get it done, then they're going to throw Cornelius Lucas in there, and we know he can't play 17 weeks.
Well, see, that's the problem. That's the problem. By then, it'll be too late, right? They need to make that roster move now. They need to add someone now so they got some more depth.
Some of these old vets don't like training camp because there's a lot of hard work.
Well, I get it, but dear Lord, you need a guy on the roster, right? If nothing
else,
he's in.
Right now, the guy's on the roster, which is why I posed the question: what if they make no more moves? We're going to be going forward with Cornelius Lucas and Brandon Coleman.
So I don't know. Make a prediction, Coach Mad Mike. If they don't do something with left tackle, here's what's going to happen. They're going to be 8-9 or 7-10.
Well, we already predict they're going to be 8-9.
Well, no, you did. I'm predicting. I think they can get 9 games in. I think they can squeak in a wild card this year. As weak as Dallas is, I think they can.
I don't think Dallas is as weak as
left tackle problem.
I don't think Dallas is as weak as you think.
All bets are off.
So I don't think Dallas is as weak as you think. Defensively, they still have Micah Parsons. They still have DeMarcus Ware. They still have all those pieces. Offensively, they still have Dak
They got no
Prescott.
one
They still
coaching
have
them.
CeeDee Lamb.
It's a
They don't have much of a running game, but they brought Ezekiel back. But they are going to be a little dysfunctional.
And the whole defensive strategies just changed. They ain't got nothing.
Well, they got Mike Zimmer, and the defensive strategy changed. They don't have Dan Quinn anymore, Joe Witt.
Nah. All that's out the window. They're a rebuild. They're a rebuild.
I will tell you next year.
I will tell you, Dallas Cowboys, it's all on Dak Prescott.
Yeah, and I will tell you, Dallas Cowboys, you will be in a rebuild come next year because either Dak Prescott or CeeDee Lamb will be gone. You will probably exercise a fifth-year option on Micah Parsons. And, oh, by the way, Michael McCarthy will be fired. Mm-hmm. So you will be in a rebuild.
Yep. This year,
but you guys will be fighting for your life this year.
Yep. And Dak is going to be running for his life. Trust me. It's all on – it's Dak and CD. That's the offense this year.
Yeah, it pretty much is. But going back to what we would do if we don't have any free agency moves, I think defensively we have corner issues that are going to get exploited. And I do believe offensively we have issues on the line that's going to cause some disruption and some timing of the passing plays. And it might even break down on some of the pass rush that might complicate trying to get not Ezekiel Elliott, but like Eckler and Robinson going, right? So, and that's going to cause us to be frustrated a little bit because we're going to have to punt the ball and we're going to be like, man, where's this dynamic offense we're looking for? Right. So if we make no free agency moves, it's not going to be ideal in my opinion.
So Coach Man Mike, what is the deadline? When's the last second that the Commanders can sign someone off free agency?
There is no deadline. There is no deadline.
Ever.
No. You can sign
deadline. I'm just a fan.
There's only a dry period between the end of the Super Bowl and the starting of the new league year, which is from like roughly around the second week of February until like the first week of March.
So these guys can go into training camp, hold with what they got, see what they're working with when they're in pads, and then make the decision. No stress.
Exactly. Well, I mean, no stress is not necessarily true because you have 31 other teams that might go out and get their services.
Yeah.
Right. So you're competing against 31 other teams.
But the longer it goes, those free agency prices keep going down, right? The longer.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Sometimes they can go up. It depends on how much interest that they're getting and how desperate a player gets.
Okay.
There's a whole lot that goes into that. And some players, their price is pretty high right now because they don't really want to show up yet.
It's too hot here in DC.
Yeah, they're just like
110 degrees tomorrow, and the humidity is too hot.
I'm working out indoors. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm getting back. I think David Bakhtiari is one of those guys. Hey, I'm working out.
I went to Costco today and almost passed out when I got back home. It's so hot.
Yeah, but like he's probably training on his own, getting in football shape on his own, like and his price will come down when he's ready, right? And then his price will really drop when he gets desperate. Like if you start getting towards week 1 and preseason games are happening, you're still not signed. Some players will get a little desperate, like I really want to play this year. And they'll come down on their price.
Wants to still be in and get another year in, sure, right?
Yeah.
He really loves the game and he wants to be in the game. Yeah.
And players know how their body's reacting to stuff, right? They know their bodies. And so they go, because, and some of them have to come to realization their body just doesn't have it anymore.
I'll tell you what, Coach Mad Mike. Large Sarge knows his body. Woo, boy. Woo, boy. He knows his body.
All right. So here's another.
Out there in D.C. It's hot.
So what are you excited about the Washington Commanders this year? Like, what are you excited to see?
I'll tell you very honestly here's what I saw last year. I saw Sam Howell doing his level best to win games, putting himself out there, scrambling for his life, doing everything that boy could do to win games and making things happen on the field. And the hugest letdown for me was They could have had 2, maybe 3 more games in hand, except for that defense. The defense was a disaster last year, especially after we lost our bookends, right? It was a disaster.
Yep.
I think we lost 2 games alone just because of that stupid move by Rivera, right?
Yeah.
So with a repaired, even with
if Rivera made the move, Josh Harris might have made that move,
but not Montez Sweat.
Yeah, we got that. But like, so I agree with you defensively. So the thing you're most excited to see this year might be the defense.
Yeah, I'm most excited because I think they did improve the defense. Are there holes? Well, every team's got holes, right? Sure, the corners, right? But look what we did in the middle of the field.
Yeah, our linebacker core is completely rebuilt.
I mean, and look at the knowledge that's coming into the room, in the training room, right?
Yeah.
Bobby
Wagner, Frank LeBeau,
and look at what the coach did in Dallas. Look, he got a team to a Super Bowl and blew it on defense. I mean, how the hell do you let Brady come back that many points? Anyway, look what he did in Dallas. He built a monster defense, which actually kept Dallas in the game. I don't expect him to do anything less here, and he has the pieces. So the thing I'm most excited to see is how much improved is the defense. Ron Rivera was supposed to be our defense guy, and he was an idiot.
Yeah. So, I don't want to keep harping on that because we do have a completely different team.
Great man.
So, like, I will tell you, for me, there's a lot to get excited about this team. So, for me, I'm going to be looking at a lot of different things. I'm going to be looking at this coaching staff. Like, as a coach, I kind of want to see how Dan Quinn
traction.
I want to see how he works with his coordinators.
Right.
I want to see what he does with Cliff Kingsbury as an offensive coordinator. I want to see what he does with Joe Witt as a new defensive coordinator. Right. So I want to see his interaction with coordinators. I want to see Dan Quinn's interaction, because when he's a defensive coordinator all those times, he was always up in the booth. He's going to be on the sideline now.
Well, in Atlanta, he was on the sideline. Huh? And he did amazing with Atlanta. He was on the sideline in Atlanta.
That's true. But and so I want to see him on the sideline with this team, though, because this team is a different culture, a different system, different coordinators. It's not going to be anything like what he did in Atlanta. So I'm very interested in seeing that dynamic. The other thing I'm very, very interested to see is the Jaden Daniels dynamic, right? So we got a quarterback. I want to see, is he everything that we think he's going to be? Because we believe he's going to be our franchise guy, but we don't know. Like, we thought about that about Haskins. We thought about that about you name the quarterback. We thought about that about Sam Howell. We thought about that about, like, freaking name the past 27 quarterbacks that we've had in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
We thought about that about a lot of those.
Only one was Smith, right?
Yeah. And Alex Smith. We thought about that about RG3.
Well, no, we didn't think about it. Smith was a replacement guy, right? A train-up and replacement guy.
We thought he would be a franchise guy for a while until he got hurt with the whole Project 11 thing. But we
didn't see him as the future of the franchise.
But I remember we drafted guys like Dwayne Haskins, rest in peace. We went out and got RG3. Before that, we got Jason Campbell. We had some quarterbacks that we had drafted that were first-round grade guys that we drafted that didn't work out.
Yeah.
So now we got Jaden Daniels. Is he finally going to be the franchise quarterback that this team has not had since probably Joe Theismann?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's been a long time, like a long, long time since we've really had a quarterback.
Well, I mean, look, RG3 came out and was a first. He was rookie of the year, right? When he came in,
and then he got hurt the next year.
But he got hurt, so you can't ever the hurt question is always out there, right? If he's healthy, RG3 might still have been here with us. If he had stayed healthy and didn't get hurt, he could have been a franchise guy, right? He could have been.
But the point is you just never know, right? So, like, we're hoping. And so that's one of the things that I'm kind of looking forward to seeing. Does he grasp this offense? Does he have his timing with Jaden Daniels, Luke McCaffrey, Jahan Dotson, Zach Ertz, Ben Sinnott, Can he get, even Austin Eckler out the backfield? Can he get this offense moving? Does he look like he's our franchise quarterback? I'm very interested in that. I'm also very interested in, can this offensive line hold up?
So
I'm very interested on whether or not.
Point is absolutely there's enough weapons on offense. We have weapons everywhere. If he's even remotely Goff level, like slightly better than average behind a fantastic offensive line, look what Goff did, right? So
yeah, but we don't have a fantastic offensive line.
Is just below average, especially on the left side, just below average, but he has more weapons. So he's got a run game, he's got a passing game out of the backfield, good tight end, good wide receiver core, fantastic slot guy, so we think. There should be opportunity.
Yeah, we believe.
Produce.
So here's what I believe. I believe it's either going to go that way or it's going to be a catastrophic disaster because there's no O-line.
Let's hope not.
Really,
it'll be hard to watch.
Because to me, when I grade out the O-line, you have Sam Cosmi, and he's the only person I consider starting material. Right. I'm going to be honest with you.
Right.
And so you hear it from me. I will tell you, anybody who watches this thing, Sam Cosmi is probably the only guy I would grade on this offensive line as a starter. The rest of these guys are backups.
It's a sub
that we are putting in starting positions.
That's why your first question, Coach, was so important. Are they going to make any free agent moves to help that out?
I don't hear any buzz about them being connected to any offensive lineman players. I will tell you that there's still buzz out there about Brandon Ayuk, and Brandon Ayuk is not coming to this team.
Right.
But I don't know why people keep wanting to talk.
That wouldn't help us with the O-line. Yeah, that wouldn't help us on the O-line. It's not going to help us.
But everybody's still talking about Brandon Ayuk coming here. He's not going to come here. I will tell you guys what the deal was that got turned down, because I did my research on it. I found out what it was through social media. So the deal when the Commanders called the 49ers, because Adam Peters is really good friends with John Lynch. They served together there in San Francisco. They know each other extremely well. That phone call was made. And that phone call, and they did discuss a trade option because John Lynch is frustrated with Brandon Ayuk over the contract situation. And Brandon Ayuk doesn't want to be there and doesn't feel like they want him. And they tried to do damage control, and it is a hot mess. Right?
Yes, it is.
So they talked about it.
Yeah,
and John Lynch wants Jahan Dotson in a second-round pick. And
I even heard a deal floating out there with Denver where we trade with Denver and get their pick from Denver and then trade those picks off to San Francisco.
That was rumors, but that was never really discussed. That was an option idea that was thrown out by an analyst, but that was not discussed. What was discussed was Jahan Dotson and a second-round pick. Adam Peters considered it and is like, no.
Man, you know what?
They're not on the phone. This discussion is not happening.
I don't like that deal because I like Dotson. I mean, we watched him in the stadium. We've seen what that guy can do. I think he's amazing.
Right. And I think Adam Peters has done all the film work and all the studying on it and goes, I am not giving up Jahan Dotson and a second-round pick to get Brandon Ayuk.
Matches that I still to this day have to go back and look at and go, how on earth did he get his body twisted to get that ball? Like, that guy is a ball hawk.
That's it.
Right?
So I'm going to ask you another question there, Lard Sarge. So, what would you think would consider what they have to get done for you to consider this a successful season for the Washington Commanders? What do they need to do?
Hire Bakhtiari! Hire Bakhtiari! Hire Bakhtiari!
I'm talking about from a results thing. I'm not talking about who they need to hire to be successful. I'm talking about what would they need to do from a results standpoint for you to look at this and say they had a successful season this year.
9-8.
You think that they need to be 9-8, and then they need to wild card?
Yeah, number 2.
You think other than that, it's a bust?
Yep. Don't care what they do after that. Get to the wild card round. Get to the playoffs. Absolutely huge step forward. Huge success.
So that would be huge, but I think for me, considering it to be a successful season, I'm not necessarily saying that you need to make it to the wild card. I want to see 8 wins. I want to see a quarterback that looks comfortable, where I can see that he's going to be my future franchise quarterback. I want to see the pieces that have been assembled. I'm not talking about the old guys. I'm not talking about Zach Ertz and Bobby Wagner. We know that they're going to be leaders and they're going to be great things, and they might not be here next year.
That's right.
I'm talking about all the pieces of the young blood that we brought in. I want to see that they're developing. So, like, I don't care about Zach Ertz as much as I care about Ben Sinnott, right? Frankie LeVou, I'm actually more interested in than Bobby Wagner, because Bobby Wagner, I know he's going to get all his tackles. But Frankie LeVou is going to be a part of this program for the next few years.
I think he's the sleeper beast. He's the sleeper beast
right.
no one knows about. I really believe it.
I'm very, very interested in things like, Emmanuel Forbes, who was disastrous last year. Does this coaching staff, are they able to develop him, or do they need to cut bait?
Yeah.
Right. So there's a lot of things, but for me to make this a successful season, I just want to see a franchise that looks like it's trending offensively, defensively, and special teams in a positive direction. And I think if you can double the number of wins we had last year, I'd be like, okay, we're at least moving in the right direction.
They can do that with 6 wins, Coach. That's moving in the right direction.
No, it's not enough.
It's not enough. Not in this day and age. Not for a $6 billion team. No, it's not enough. Wild card.
Yeah. I mean, I get the wild card. I mean, it's tough to make the playoffs in the NFL.
$1 billion. The best minds in the NFL brought together. The best draft picks. The number 2 quarterback.
They did a lot. But I will tell you, I don't go based off of the price tag, because Josh Harris was an idiot. He way overpaid for this team. This team is probably not even worth half of what he paid for.
Nope.
So
not today. But when that season starts, we'll see.
Because let me tell you something. You didn't buy anything with this team. You didn't buy a logo, name brand recognition with this team, because it was a completely rebranded and everybody hates it.
Yep.
You didn't buy a stadium. You didn't buy, what did you buy? So you bought into a market believing that it's going to have a return on investment. You
bought a W. Yeah, and I want to see the wins. 9 wins.
All right. So that was part of it. I want to give a brief discussion about training camp, because you and I are going to go.
Oh.
We're going to go for there. We're going to try to do and check out what this team looks like. We don't know what we're allowed to film or not. As I investigated a little bit, some of those things that we can actually film, some of those things that are going to tell you can't film here. Okay, we'll figure it out when we get there, but we're going to film whatever we can film.
Yeah.
And we're going to report on everything that we see.
We're going to talk to some fans.
We're going to talk to some fans, get some new subscribers, get some people on the show. We're going to do what we can do. So I will tell you that I made a mistake earlier. Mitchell Reyes is not the personnel exec I was talking about from it. His name is actually Scott Fitterer. The Mitchell Reyes guys is actually the minority owner, and that has to do with the discussion about the name change. He actually does not like the name Commanders, the minority owner.
Another one.
He's another one that has now come forward, said he had a chance to talk to the fan base, and his assessment was the fan base absolutely hates the name.
He'd be right.
And he would be right. He also is a strong proponent of it needs to be changed, but went on to say that the overall hog, the Harris ownership group is what they're calling them now. They're calling themselves the hog. That
funny how that worked out, isn't it? Isn't it funny how that worked out? The hog.
Yeah, the hog.
Isn't that destiny speak in there a little bit, Coach Mad Mike?
Or they're reaching just to try to be relevant. But yeah, so the hog has made the executive decision that they're just not going to entertain a name change in the near term. Their strategy that got leaked was, if we win, does the name stick?
Right.
Or if we're winning, do they still hate the name?
Yeah. Yes.
And then they're going to make a decision based off of that.
Well, they're making steps in the right direction by going burgundy and gold. Bringing the gold pants back is just, that's kind of like sneaking one in on the radar, right?
Yeah, it's not a feather. I actually think that the feather was trying to sneak something in, and they got caught.
But
Gold pants.
It's
What
not.
can you say about gold pants?
It's not undesirable. It actually looks kind of cool.
Yeah. What's wrong with it?
What's wrong with that?
We got sensitive people out there to get freaking triggered over a feather.
Why can't they just do that now? Put the feather on it. One more step, right?
Yeah. All right. But we will be actually having a show next week, and we will be prepping up for training camp, and we will be getting things ready to go because we want real news. We want football to be back, and we are so excited about that. And we will be trying to, as we get ready to go, like next week, we will not be at training camp. It won't start until the week after that. But next week, we will give our pre-training camp edition and try to come up with things that we want to try to see during training camp and what are some of our expectations are and whether or not, and we'll see whether or not they live up to them. So you guys prepare for that. We're going to prepare for that, and we're going to discuss that next week. So please tune in to our live show next week, and we'll do that. Any parting comments there, Large Sarge?
No parting comments other than we love you guys.
All right, you guys. This is Football Psych, and we're out of here. Peace.